first death along the A line. Signals point to this not being the fault of the troubled train line. If you want to know what Governor Hickenlooper really thinks of legal pot, listen to what he says when he's out of state. She told Next she was just happy to have survived freezing nights in a snow cave, even if it cost her some fingers and toes. Then a doctor in Aurora said, not so fast. Speaking of Aurora, a suggestion that maybe people would speak differently of that city if the city had a different name. What do you say? Tackles another tricky Colorado place name, and I'll explain why I think a lot of people are picking the wrong battle over pronunciation. That and a Valentine's Day message to this smoking hot state of ours. Next. Do not assume that the death this morning along the A-line train tracks in Aurora is tied to the crossing gate issues that we've been covering extensively for the last year. Aurora police tell us that video of the crash suggests that the driver killed when a van stopped on the tracks may have driven in front of the train on purpose. But the questions about whether there is any link to the crossing problems are certainly understandable. Federal regulators have given RTD extension after extension to fix the safety issues, and flagger teams are still posted at each crossing. So our Brandon Ritteman takes a closer look.
First of all, Aurora police say it doesn't look like the timing problem caused this crash. They say video shows the driver waiting on one set of tracks for 38 seconds, then inching onto the commuter rail line right as the train came. In any event, RTD says the problem with timing doesn't cause the gates to drop too late. It causes them to fall too early and then stay down too long. You've never had the thing come down too late. It's always been too early every time?
I am unaware of any time that the gate has come down too late.
That said, this whole business of having to post people at each crossing has been going on for a really long time now. It doesn't help that these crossing gates don't work like the ones that all of us are used to. The train doesn't hit a switch on the track that sends the red lights flashing and the bells ringing. This line uses software to track the train on its journey and then drop the gates at the right time. It's the first new build commuter rail line in the nation to use what they call positive train control. Because the timing isn't right yet, RTD has been running this train on a string of 90-day waivers from the feds and having to post those people at the crossings. The current waiver lasts through April, which means the train still won't be working properly on its one-year anniversary. And RTD says that won't be the end. Do you anticipate being done by the end of this 90-day waiver, or how close are you guys?
No, probably not, because there are longer lead items, longer term items, I should say. There are several items that are going to take longer than the current 90-day waiver.
RTD isn't putting an end date on this workaround, and that's not just a pain at the crossings. It's also holding up the opening of other commuter rail lines because regulators want RTD to get this one right before they open up more. And it's holding up the process of applying for quiet zones, which allow trains to cross roads without having to blast their horns. People and businesses near the A line would love that, but you have to prove the crossings are working properly before you can apply. For Next, I'm Brandon Ritteman.
At this point tonight, the A-line is operational between Union Station and Peoria, and then bus shuttles are running between Peoria and the airport. RTD tells us they're still waiting for the all-clear to open the rest of the line, and that's not going to happen today. If you want to know what the governor hates the most about legal pot in Colorado, just eavesdrop on him like we did this afternoon. He's out in California testifying in front of the state Senate there. California has to figure out how to roll out retail cannabis next year, and our governor went there to tell them not to be stupid.
We had such a looseness in home grows, and so we had medical marijuana originally, and people could have 6 plants per patient, up to 99 plants. And it's crazy. Well, it's a stupid system, and I would encourage you guys to clamp down because it makes it very hard. What you end up with is what we call the gray market. Mm-hmm. So those folks are legally growing it. They don't need a license, right? We don't have to they don't have to fill out forms. We don't, check on their credentials or their criminal history. And 99 plants, that's a lot of marijuana.
First time he said 99 plants in a house, did you hear the guy in the back go, whoa? Governor Hickenlooper also told California's legislators that he does not expect a federal crackdown on legal marijuana. Hickenlooper's optimistic the Trump administration will let the experiment continue. The smiling man in the mugshot is the guy charged with a bomb threat at the college campus in Leadville yesterday. Adam Slattery appears quite pleased with the hoax that shut down Colorado Mountain College. Lake County deputies say he's not cooperating with their investigation. He's a former student at the college, not enrolled this year, though he would be wise to study up on the consequences of resisting arrest, menacing, criminal extortion, and harassment, the charges that await him in court. The backcountry skier lost for 52 hours is back to share an encouraging update. Last time Kelsey Malin was on Next, she told us that she thought she'd lose all her toes to frostbite, but she was just happy to be alive. Now it looks like she won't lose a one, thanks to a treatment phoned in from the University of Colorado Hospital.
This is the most recent photo of Kelsey's feet.
Life and limb are on the line daily.
She's going to have a little teeny bit of tissue loss, but certainly no amputations.
Inside UC Health's burn center.
People have a misconception that burn units only take care of burns, and frostbite is one of the things that we take care of.
And this is some bad frostbite.
In our world, purple, bad, no blood flow.
Kelsey Malin's world was turned upside down when she got lost skiing at Monarch.
I got frostbite really bad.
Survived 52 hours in the backcountry.
All right, we're going to build a snow cave.
When she was rescued and made it to a hospital in Salida, she wasn't given any hope for her toes.
Because they weren't aware. They didn't know that there actually were really good treatments for frostbite.
That treatment is a mix of these two vials, the same medication used for strokes and heart attacks.
This drug actually dissolves and opens clots.
When used within 24 hours of the frostbite thawing, Dr. Wagner says the amputation rate drops dramatically. Only 1 in 10 patients will need an amputation.
My goal in life is to get it out to as many people as possible so that more patients can not lose their limbs.
Joined now by Dave Perry, editor of the Aurora Sentinel, because it would seem, Dave, that this week all stories lead to Aurora in some way or another. RTD, today's crash aside and what happened there. RTD is 9 days away from opening the R line through Aurora. Its light rail shouldn't have the same problems that the A line has had, but where do you think public perception of RTD is these days?
You know, everyone I talk to says that they have a trust issue because of the A line. If you get on the line, you go past at-grade crossings, you see people with flags and cops and stuff there, and it makes you wonder what's going on. I just wonder why RTD hasn't done more to solve those public relations problems before they roll out the next line and not set themselves up for, if any little thing happens, it's going to be, oh, it's just like the A line.
Aurora's Republican Congressman Mike Kaufman last night announced a listening tour for all those constituents clamoring to talk to him about the repeal of the Affordable Care Act and other actions by the Trump administration. Meeting with these selected small groups in a telephone town hall, no in-person town hall where he's going back and forth with people.
You know, it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. You have to wonder how much better they can hear if they're not hearing it directly from the constituents' mouths. At the end of the day, it just seems vitally important that if you're going to listen to something this critical to everyone, especially Aurora folks right now, you want to hear it directly from them, and you want to do it at a town meeting. I get that these can be a political ploy and something more of a distraction. On the other hand, this is American politics, and it's rough and tumble, and there's good and there's bad, and you got to take both.
Dave Perry from the Aurora Sentinel, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks.
Your forecast for the rest of the week depends on how well you handled Valentine's Day. Things could get chilly or hot in a hurry. A Valentine for this beautiful state of ours is next. Today's edition of What Do You Say takes us to a place pronounced based on a family, not a language, and the language of learning for some families in Denver.
It's just much more accessible and convenient for people now.
That's next. Before we get back into the serious business, because the news is supposed to be serious and scary, or so I've heard, let's share 60 seconds of serious love for the Valentine that we all share today, the beautiful state we call home.
I love Colorado.
I love Colorado.
I love Colorado.
What do you love about Colorado, buddy?
I love Colorado because of the outdoor activities and furry faces.
We love the nice weather.
The weather is great.
The weather's great.
The snow is beautiful.
I love the mountain air.
You can't beat it.
I grew up in New Hampshire. Yeah, northern New Hampshire.
So they have mountains in New Hampshire?
They do.
I mean, they're great mountains, just the snow out here is so much better.
Peanut. What do you like about Colorado? Being outside on nice days and nice scenery and being able to walk around the park.
How about you?
The beautiful women.
And beer.
Yeah, craft beer and beautiful women.
The coffee is excellent. I live right up the street, and I'm down here, I bet, at least two or three times a day. You can ask the staff.
We're going to go get our marriage license today.
And you haven't run yet.
Not yet.
There's still time.
Dance to Colorado.
This is home. It's clean. It's dry. I like it. It just suits me.
It's just a wonderful place to live. I've never lived anywhere else, and I don't want to live anywhere else.
Couple streamed to the Denver clerk's office for Valentine's Day weddings today, and a bride panicked when she realized she didn't bring a memory card for her camera, had no way to capture the day. Then in stepped a dark and handsome stranger who offered her his memory card. And that, my friends, is our friend, 9 News photojournalist Chris Hansen, whose work you often see right here on Next, coming through in the clutch for a nervous bride. Great photographer and a good dude.
That Chris Hansen is something special, a lovely gesture on a lovely Valentine's Day. The weather was really nice. Typically, when we have sunshine and warm weather in one of our colder months, the wind accompanies that mild forecast, but not today. Highs near 50, and we're going to jump about 12 degrees tomorrow. Low pressure spinning over northern Oklahoma, bringing showers and storms off to the south and east of us. In the east, they're bracing for another round of cold and snow, lake effect snow, and an issue for travelers in that part of the country tonight. High pressure, our friend, will keep the storm track at bay for now. As much as we need the moisture here, our best chance will be a little mountain snow heading into the holiday weekend and maybe a few light rain showers, but not until Sunday into Monday. And so fair skies, light winds tonight, a beautiful evening, and a warmer day coming up tomorrow. In the metro area tonight, 26 degrees, clear, cool with light winds, which is where we start tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. We'll jump into the low 60s in the afternoon, then head into record territory on Thursday. 70s back in the forecast. Mild, dry weather continues all the way through early next week. And here's a little Valentine from Vail Mountain. What a beautiful view.
Thanks, Kathy. What do you say when you refer to the neighborhood in Jefferson County with a 3-word name? Missy, Jim, Todd, Kelly all asked us to explore the pronunciation of the neighborhood between Wadsworth and 470. The Neighborhood Association offered an answer and a little history.
Ken Caryl Ranch was named after 2 sons of the original owner, John Schaefer, Kent and Caryl. The spelling was changed, but he called it Ken Caryl Ranch after them. And we have no idea why it was changed to Caryl.
Ken Caryl, not Ken Caryl. There is a right and wrong answer there, according to the Neighborhood Association. Let's return now, though, to last night's pronunciation debate. The street in Denver, Zuni. It's named for the Zuni tribe of Native Americans, but commonly pronounced Zuni in Denver these days, and that's the pronunciation that we use here on 9 News. But that's not right, you say. We heard the same thing when we talked about Buena Vista. Our goal is to pronounce place names as the people in those places pronounce them. Very few people pronounce the name of our state, Colorado, as its native Spanish would dictate. And I don't see many people marching into the countless towns across the East and Midwest to protest the bastardized pronunciations of European place names. In the case of Buena Vista, the city tells us it was named by Europeans who twisted the Spanish phrase to their own tongue. And I say, to mix metaphors badly, let a twisted tongue lie. Back now to my conversation with Aurora Sentinel editor Dave Perry, who wrote in defense of his city this week that with all that Aurora has going for it, economic expansion, safe neighborhoods, a strong defense industry, maybe what that city needs is a new name.
You know, this comes up a lot, and Aurora takes a lot of hits. It's often the punching bag of the metro area and has been for a long time. And satirically, I was just saying that, you know, it's so hard to get people to understand what Aurora really is, that it's a large city, has a lot of urban aspects to it, but for the most part, it's a really well-run city. But every time something happens, everybody's like, oh my gosh, Aurora. You just can't seem to get past it. So it's like, why not just change the name of the city?
Denver schools are trying a new way to help parents help their students.
Really those tools that our parents need to make sure that they're supporting their child in any way possible.
A next question from Moses about the license plates that aren't set in stone. And tonight's viewer feedback is straight out of the Colorado State prison system. Colorado's largest school district knows its students have a variety of needs, and the parents who support those students speak a variety of languages. Our Byron Reed explores how Denver Public Schools is reaching out in Espanol.
Thank you for tuning in to Educa Radio on 1090 AM.
When we think about talk radio,
it's so accessible to everybody.
Trying to tune in at a specific time can be a challenge.
But it's very difficult to get all of that information.
And in an age where people often get news from their cell phones and mobile devices,
y con toda confianza participen.
Hosts Salvador Carrera and Julieta Quiñones want to make sure their message is heard loud and clear to parents in the Denver Public School District.
It's an excellent opportunity for our parents to learn how to navigate the educational system.
That's why DPS has launched their new online bilingual radio station called Educa. The district says the new platform is being paid for out of the general fund, with hopes of being self-sustained by advertising dollars in the future.
We have 30-some-odd thousand kids that speak Spanish at home, and we know that this information in Spanish is critical so that parents can make the best decisions for their child's career.
Covering a wide range of topics from bullying to graduation rates to school choice programs, the district says they wanted greater access to reach parents.
Really gives us an opportunity to reach directly to parents where they are and give them friendly information that many times they wouldn't have otherwise.
Getting out convenient information that can make a difference, getting out a message anytime parents need it.
It really brings a tear to my eye to know that a parent really benefited from the information that we broadcasted.
For Next,
I want to thank our special guests for their time, for their
I'm Byron Reed.
expertise on this topic.
Bottom line, DPS says it just doesn't want language to become one more barrier to getting a good education. We have another sign for you, spotted by Next viewer Katie McGivney up in Fort Collins. A sign for the Ever Open Cafe, followed by the hours, Monday through Sunday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. So it's not ever open, or as in like it's not always open. And now I've proceeded to confuse myself. I guess the deal is that the Ever Open Cafe has been open for more than 60 years, so they're just not closing anytime soon. That's the deal. Anyway, send us signs that catch your eye. Next at 9news.com is the email, or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. Our next question comes from Moses, who writes, "Hi, Next. Ever since Colorado changed their temporary license plates and made them more visible and easier to read, I've noticed an increasing number of these temporary plates that are expired. Maybe it's not any different than before the update and they're just more visible now. But are the police doing anything about this? Shouldn't a vehicle automatically get pulled over for expired tags?" First of all, there are no grace periods for expired temp tags, so don't let those things linger on you. Denver Police says, yep, they can pull somebody over for expired temp plates, and parking enforcement can also give out tickets with expired plates if they're parked on public streets. Denver Police say you can always call the non-emergency line if you want to report an expired temp plate, if you're concerned about the state missing out on the tax revenue or something like that. A first for Next this week, our very first piece of prison mail. We'll open it together in our feedback segment next. It would appear that we are getting some feedback, and it would be a first for Next. Actually, our first letter from prison, straight from the Buena Vista Correctional Facility. Very nicely typed, by the way, if I might say so. Keith writes, "Dear Mr. Clark," quite polite as well, "I am very encouraged by the type of program you have on Channel 9. He suggests that we report on a prison rehab program that he says is very successful." And then he writes more thoughtfully, "Programs like yours are important to inform the public of stories that would ordinarily be missed because of a lack of exposure." Very nice. Keep it up. It'll take you and your audiences to places that others don't care to go. Well, thank you, Keith. We wish you the best, and stay in touch. See you next time.